Please don't. What up, guys? Jason Guyman here with King of Pressure Wash. I know tonight is King of Pressure Wash night, but it's also Christmas lights night because it is Christmas light time. And so I wanted to hit on how someone did $150,000 in 3 months. Their very first time. We'll go through kind of the whole thing of it. We got to hear kind of his story. I've heard his story a bunch because he's been calling me a bunch and I've been helping him out. And to be able to get to 150,000, never done a business of the service side, and to be able to get to where we are now. What I will say is what you will learn in tonight. It's not only in Christmas lights, but this does go for pressure washing or any service business. And the biggest thing is you have to take action. It's one of the things that I struggle with a lot of people, of getting you to take action or being scared to do or being scared to fail. And this is something that you just got to learn and do it and make it happen. And so that is what we will be talking about tonight in this here. And so with that, again, if you haven't seen me or haven't done whatever, I know, again, this is the pressure washing site also with the Christmas lights. But again, we'll see how tonight goes. And if you have any questions, we will try to get to you before you can put it in here. But before we get started, I always like to see who we have online as we start out. We got Bobby from Tampa, Florida, or somewhere, Miami, Florida, I believe he's from. We got Billy Edwards. How are you doing? We got another Florida guy here. Fellas, Christmas light business is crazy right now, he says. Get it. 1,000 yard signs paid for themselves in a week, a long time ago. And, you know, I was talking to a good friend of mine that last year he did 250,000 his very first year in business, Sam Else. And this year he's already over $500,000, almost to $600,000 in just Christmas lights alone. And so that is pretty awesome to be able to see people to be able to do that. We got, that is Sam Else talking about Sam Else to get it when he said get it. And so Sam Else is pretty awesome. He sent me some emails, and I told him to do something yesterday. And that's the thing I love about Sam, is when I tell him to do it, he's like, I'll get it done. And in the morning, I told him to send a text out, and this is what everybody should be doing. If you have any Christmas lights out there, you should send a text out to everybody that you sent the quote out and say, hey, whatever, we can get you up in December here. And he closed almost $6,000 within a few minutes after he closed that text. So make sure you go out there and do that. All right, before we get started here too far, Daniel, tell me, what is your name, who you are, where are you from, your family, that kind of stuff.
So my name's Daniel Welsh. I'm born and raised in Edinburgh, Scotland. I lived there for the first 19 years of my life, and then I moved to America on a soccer scholarship in college. I was an NCAA Division I athlete. I played soccer at initially UMBC, and then I transferred to UC Santa Barbara in California. And studied there, finished my degree there, and then signed a pro soccer contract in Carolina for the Carolina Railhawks at the time. Discovered really quickly that, the money wasn't great at that sort of level. So signed a 2-year contract and dipped out real quick once I figured, I could make more money in other things. And then got into coaching, coaching soccer. I'm in Virginia now. My whole family moved over to Virginia when I was in California. My father was a Hall of Fame soccer player, professional, high level. And he came over here and, started coaching, and he got me into the club, and we started coaching together. And then, we just formed our own club, our own non-profit soccer club, maybe a year and a half ago now. So just been coaching for the last 8 or 9 years.
So you had never ran well, you had ran a business because you did do the nonprofit side of things. But other than that, you've never ran a business or started a business out there when you started this Christmas light business, right?
No, just yeah, like you said, just coaching soccer. And we built the club. I also had like a basically like a supplemental training company like for soccer, but it was just summer camps and spring break camps and some. We did like a trip to Scotland, but I've never done like a service business. This is my first rodeo, with that. So it's been really good so far.
And how many kids do you have?
Like me, kids, with my one,
One
yeah,
kid.
one boy, yeah.
Gotcha.
My wife's pregnant though. I got another on the way. Another boy's on the way.
Good. So you're gonna have two kids here.
Yeah. I thought you meant how many kids am I coaching soccer? I was like,
No, no. Are they gonna play soccer?
they better. They better. Yeah. Pressure's on, right?
That's right. That's right.
I'm feeding them.
So
I'm feeding
what
them
got
all
you
organic
started?
food. Yeah.
What made you think of, well, I want to start a Christmas light business?
So funny story. So I was we were in Fort Lauderdale near Miami on holiday in August. I was down there with my mom, my dad, just for a little getaway in between the soccer seasons. And I'd been to watch Inter Miami. I went to watch Lionel Messi play that night, and I was so excited I couldn't sleep. So we were at an Airbnb, and I don't know if when you go to these Airbnbs and they have YouTube, and it's like someone had watched it before you. So Christmas light installer was in the algorithm already. And so I'm like, whatever. I turned it on, it was on. And then you popped up. And I was like, oh. And then I ended up watching. I don't know, I went and made food. I came back. I was like, this guy's talking a lot of sense. What's this? And I'd remembered that my wife had requested a quote we moved into a new home last year. It's a new build. And she'd requested a quote for Christmas lights, and it was ridiculous. It was like, I don't know, it was like $2,500 or something for like a few lights. And obviously I can do them. Like I've been doing them for years on the side for my mom, my dad, for family, friends. And we were just curious what it would be. And I was like, I always thought, maybe I could get into this. And then when I saw your video, I was like, you know what? This sounds good. So I ended up jumping in. End of August, I got home from a vacation, and I just started staying up till like 2 a.m. learning consumed as much information as I could, watched all of your videos, joined your Facebook group, and then got the ball rolling from there, yeah.
So with that, Jeremy Olson I'm going to go back to the soccer. My cousin, Brian McBride, is Columbus Crew in USA team. So
yeah. He was a really good soccer. He was really, really good.
So so when you had decided to do Christmas lights and you get jumping into it, what were some of the things that you had to overcome to be able to do Christmas lights?
Yeah, for me, well, number one was I didn't know how to do it professionally. So like SPT1 wire, male female plugs, vampire teeth plugs, running zip wire, cutting it. This was all new to me. So and then all those basic things like what clips to use, like all this normal issues you run into on a job. I didn't know any of that. Like I've kind of just learned on the fly. Like watched a lot of your videos to learn all that stuff. But even basic things like stripping it down to its most basic form for the business side is like I didn't know what a CRM was. I had no idea. I didn't know how to invoice. I didn't know how to do a quote. And I always remember you did a call with the girl Sarah from Holiday Home Concepts. And this was at the time when I didn't know. I was doing all my designs on Canva, and they were taking me like an hour to do one design. And I watched that call you did with her, and I ended up signing up for her software, and that's helped a lot. It's definitely improved my conversion rate. I've picked up so much, honestly, just from watching. I've not watched anything else but your videos.
So with that, I know another thing that's pretty amazing that you've done. You're going to be you're at 146,000 right now as we speak. And how many roofs have you been on, being that you're at $146,000?
Not many, man. I don't like going up on the ladder too high, to be honest. I can do it, but I get a little bit dizzy.
So what I'm getting at is you don't have to be good at hanging lights to be able to get to $150,000. You know, a lot of times we think that we got to be this expert at whatever, pressure washing, Christmas lights, whatever. And it's to prove that you don't have to be an expert to be able to get to that point, that you've been able to get there to at $150,000 by not even getting on very few roofs because you don't like getting off the ground, right? You're vertically challenged, as in you don't want to get off the ground. And so, with that, I'm just wanting to hit on this because a lot of times people get in their mind that you got to be this expert at this or whatnot. And that's why I always say, you know, the hanging the lights is a $20 to $30 an hour task. The doing all the other stuff, that's the higher end task. And that's what really I want to talk more about tonight, because I feel like you've grabbed that and grasped it very well and have taken action on it, right? There's been many times that you've called me. There was one night that I was in Texas, and you know they're an hour behind anyway, and you know I'm messaging you at 2-3 o'clock in the morning your time, and because you're just like so focused trying to get this stuff. And so this is what I want to hit on, because this is where a lot of people struggle at. They can't get the clothes, or, you know, and I know your area, and there is people in your area that charge the premium pricing right along with you. There's two large companies that charge just as much, if not probably more than you do. But there's also a lot of guys that are the $4, $5, $6 a foot in that same area. And so I want to kind of hit and focus our conversation on this part right here a lot, because I believe this is something that a lot of people struggle with, of how do I price when I got a $5 a foot guy, or a guy that's willing to do it for $200, right? Because that guy's going to go out of business. He's not even going to take the lights down because he can't afford to do it. And so, and this doesn't matter whether we're talking about pressure washing. It doesn't matter, because pricing is pricing. And if you can understand that, that's where I want to go at. So when you started pricing, you're brand new, you're listening to me talk about premium pricing. What was the thoughts that went through your head at that point?
Well, for me, first and foremost, it was I had to master the everything about the business, so hands on. So I actually went and I did my own house, and I had to teach myself. And I picked it up. I picked things up very, very quickly. And like it's simple now. I can do it with my eyes closed when I'm doing plugs and all that. It's easy. So I've mastered it all. It's very simple, but you know, getting to that point, even having the confidence to charge somebody to do all this, I had to have proof of concept first. So I did my home very early on, and then I went and did my mum's home very early on, and then my mum's neighbors, and that was just to show that I can do this myself. Like I got on the roof, I was comfortable. I don't enjoy it, but I could do it. Just so that I knew that if anything was to happen and I was left on my own, I had that I could always rely on myself as a backup plan. I think the other big thing was my whole life I've been part of a team. And I think that the best businesses, you surround yourself, you bring people in around you to form a team. So everyone's got different strengths. And the more people you can bring into your team that are good at different things, the better you're going to be. So I'm not comfortable going high, so I'm just going to go and find somebody that is comfortable going high. And I think that as you're forming that team, it kind of raises your, okay, I brought this guy, now my business is worth more. I brought in this expert at what he does. He's a roofer. He's comfortable up there. I can charge more. But I think also doing a lot of research and doing market research and seeing what others in the area are charging. I didn't like doing it, but I did request quotes from competitors just to kind of see where they were at. You know, and kind of get a gauge of what they're charging and things like that.
And how many did you either not get a phone call back or didn't never receive anything back from those competitors?
Yeah, I mean, some of my competitors they're doing really well. Let's put it that way. I think they're charging a lot because they can charge what they want at this point, right? There's demand for it, so they're charging through the roof, literally.
Yep. So one thing, I on our way down to Branson, I was in Branson this past weekend. My youngest didn't want to go with Grandma and Grandpa, so my wife decided we were going to drive separate. And so I actually had a pretty long conversation with Daniel on the phone, and he got talking about some things, and it does make more sense of, he was talking about, he's doing premium soccer club and he's got to get the parents buy in on it. And Christmas lights is all the same thing of you got to get that person to in our Monday night marketing meetings, Daniel's been coming in a lot, and I love it because his energy's high, and he's that team guy, right? We can do this, boys. And the one day he's like, I don't know, I think I might have made people feel bad. And I'm like, no, you didn't, because that's awesome. I love your energy. And, he got off on one tangent on selling, on how to sell lights, because a lot of people ask, how do you get these high prices? How do you do it? And so I kind of want to hit on a little bit of that. First off, what did you do for marketing to be able to get the phone to ring in the first place?
Yeah, well, I listened to your video on signs, so after that video, I went and ordered, I can't even remember how many orders. I spent like a couple of $1,000s on signs, and signs and door hangers. I did a bunch of door hangers early on. So I just went out. If I was going to be early to my soccer practice, I would just stop by like a neighborhood that looks nice and just go and hang door hangers. And I just keep them in my truck for if I was ever early somewhere. And then I was going out on Friday nights at like 12 midnight and just doing the signs on the roads all over Northern Virginia. That really helped me gain traction. That was one of the signs really helped. And then, yeah, that's it really. I did like maybe 2-3 days of Facebook ads, and I don't know, I'm not ready. I can always go back to that, but I didn't see a good ROI on it yet. I maybe was doing something wrong, but yeah, that's something I can maybe do later down the line. I was spending quite a lot, and I wasn't really getting much in return. I was paying like $10 a lead, and the lead was duds anyway. So.
And another thing that I love that you did too is you flipped rocks, right? You just went into businesses, and I love the one story you tell me a little bit about the nursing home.
Oh yeah, so I got an elderly home. So it was on the way to my mum and dad. I was going to visit my mum and dad, and there's this elderly home that's like on the corner on the road up the way. So I was like, you know what? Elderly homes, they need lights, right? Because older people, lights looks good. So I was like, I stopped in. And I just got chatting to this old guy outside. I'm like, just curious, did you guys have Christmas lights last year? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, Christmas lights around the building, trees, looks nice, all that. He's like, no, I don't think so. I'm like, all right, would you like them? And he's like, I'd love Christmas lights. I'm like, all right, and how about you, ma'am? And she's like, oh, I'd love Christmas lights too. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do you a favor, but you got to do me a favor in return. I'm going to go in and speak to your boss and speak to the boss of the place and say, I'm going to offer you Christmas lights, but you've got to make sure that you tell them that we spoke to Daniel and we want Christmas lights. There's a crazy Scotsman offering Christmas lights and we want them. So I went in, spoke to the receptionist, and just confirmed that there was no Christmas lights there. So anyway, I was like, oh, well, can I speak to the boss? She's like, yeah, I'll give her a call. So she came out. And we just got chatting, and I was like, yeah, I just think, I was speaking to the older guy outside. I think he'd love Christmas lights. I think your residents would love it. It kind of brings a nice holiday cheer. And she's like, that's a great idea. I've been considering it for years. I'm glad you walked in. And basically turned out that they didn't have it. They didn't have the budget for it. So she actually had called. She was the daughter. So she'd called the mum who ran an even bigger elderly home in another part of Virginia. And I got I think it was like a $10,000-$11,000 sale out of that. She called the mum and says, you need to go with this guy for Christmas lights.
So flipping rocks even works especially for the commercial side of getting business for your Christmas light business. And it works for anything, right? That's the way you can get pressure washing. But, the thing that I do like about Daniel is he's very confident in what he does, even if he didn't know what he was doing in the beginning. He's very confident in his sales. And, I think a lot of times, and this is probably something that you learned in soccer too, because if you're not confident and don't believe in yourself, you're not going to get to the pro level, and that's what me and my wife was saying of, to get to the pro level of anything, you have to be, I am the damn best person that there is, and I don't care who else is out there, right? You've got to have that attitude. You've got to believe in yourself. And, you didn't know nothing about Christmas lights in August, but you learned it, you believed in yourself, and you made it happen. And, a lot of people they're wishy-washy. They don't, when I go talk to Sam, or you watch some of Sam's videos, if you ain't watching him on TikTok, he will make you laugh. He's funny. He does a lot. but he is confident in himself, you know, and he's some of people will say he's full of it, right? And but that's just like when you're around him, man, you get pumped up, you get ready to rock and roll, and you're ready to go take the world on with him. And I kind of get that feeling with you, Daniel. Whenever you're talking, I'm like, let's go beat the world down, because that's what it's all about. It's about thinking positive, and it's not a bunch of negative. You know, I said one day the biggest thing that Daniel's called me is, I don't know what I'm going to do with these freaking employees. You know, he's letting them go. He's firing them. He's had more employees this last couple of weeks than he's probably had his whole life. And, but, you know, and the one day I was like, he was down and feeling negative, and you're like, I don't feel negative. Right. And it's back to, you got to be positive. You got to keep pushing through, and you got to, no matter what. And, you know, you probably coach it to your kids in soccer of, hey, we're down 2-0, but you know, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make it happen. And when you get that go-to attitude of, I'm going to run through the wall no matter what I got to do, you will win. I promise you. It's back to being consistent. It's back to being relentless. You're going to give it all you have to everything you have to be able to get that done. And that's the thing that I have enjoyed watching you to get to 150,000. Because what was your goal originally doing Christmas lights?
I would have been happy with 50, 60K. I actually had 3 different goals. So I had like a 50K, just like, you know, you did well, Daniel. I think it was like a 9,500K for, like, you know, you've done really, really well, Daniel. And then there was like a 150. And I said to myself when I did this one, I was like, this is unrealistic, but I'm going to shoot for the stars. Who knows, right? Hail Mary. And I said, if I get to 150, I'm going to book a vacation for my whole family. Something I've always wanted to do. You know, my grandparents are getting older. I don't see them much. You know, my mom and dad have you know, treated me really well over the years. I'm like, I want to pay them back. And I always said, if I get to 150, I'm going to take everyone to the Caribbean. And it looks like I'm going to be doing that. So that'll be our little reward.
Now, that's pretty awesome right there. You know, and that's something that, is there anything special about you?
Me?
Yeah.
Not really, man. No.
No, and that's what I'm getting at. There, you know, what did you go to college for?
Sociology. I hated school. Hated it.
So what I'm getting at is, there's nothing special about Daniel to get to $150,000, right? He believed in himself. He took action. He's been relentless. He's been staying up till 2, 3 o'clock every night. He's still coaching soccer. He's still making things happen. I tried to get him to come to some of my trainings, and he's like, I got tournaments this weekend. And I understand it, because I've got a daughter that's in the tournaments too. And so I understand 100%. And that's kind of what my goal is as we help people grow their business, right? My goal is to help you guys get to $100,000, because I feel like $100,000 can change your all's lives at the end of the day. And so this is something that I preach, and I push it so hard. And yes, that's awesome for your family, right? Because at the end of the day, this is about family. Growing a Christmas light business can be one of the most stressful things in your life for the 2 months, but it can give you freedom for the other 10 months if you do it right and you grow it right. That's the thing that's awesome about a Christmas light business is you can give it, you got to give it hell for two months, but then you can live the rest of the other 8-9 months life a lot easier. And so that's what's cool about having a Christmas light business.
Yeah, and I would say on that point, like, you know, like I'm high energy, I'm positive, I'm optimistic. I really want to do well, but like I've had people come into my business, like installers, that don't match that energy, and you know, they're just there for a paycheck, and they don't have that passion. And my wife made a good point the other day. She's like, no one's going to care about your business as much as you do, and that's so true. But I think you can find people who share a passion for Christmas and share a passion for making people smile and uplifting people's spirits. And I finally found that in an installer. It's took me 7 or 8 different ones to finally get one. It's a guy named Juan. He's phenomenal. He's been a roofer for 30 years, and he has a smile on his face. He enjoys it. Like the guys I had before, you know, if we stumbled across a challenge, it was more so they would look at the negative, like, we can't do this. And I'm like, there's got to be a way. Like there has to be, like there's got to be a way. And I was relentless about finding a way, and we would find a way. And I would always tell them after the fact, I'm like, we found a way. And they're like, you're right. And I'm like, yeah, you've got to look at things in a positive mindset. Otherwise, what's the point in doing, like, you're going to go through your life just dragging your feet, like, looking down. Like, life's too short, man. Life's way too short.
And that's the attitude you have to have. And this is why a lot of times will say, who do I need to hire? And a lot of times we look at roofers and stuff, or in past installers, but in the end, a good attitude goes way better than someone that's been doing this for 20 years. Someone doing it 20 years got a bad attitude. It's not, we're selling joy, right? That's all we're selling is happiness and joy and magic. And if you got a poopy putt, you're going to squash it real fast, or it's going to take, that cancer will spread real quick in your whole company if you're not careful.
Yeah.
You can find the right employees, but remember, employees aren't making 100% of the money. They aren't going to give you 100%. Hire people based on core values, not experience. And this is something that, this is why I tell a lot of people, go to Chick-fil-A and find people, because most people at Chick-fil-A, my pleasure, it's very positive. It's very, they're very self-motivated, all that kind of stuff at the end of the day. So with that, what are as you were growing your business, what were a fear or something that you had to overcome, and how did you overcome that fear?
Yeah. I mean, there was no financial fear because, again, I watched the video yours very early on, and you kind of advised that, you take a deposit before you buy materials, right? So that was the beauty of it all, was I don't have to put anything down. Like, I'm not taking any risk. I'm not putting myself in debt. So right out the gates, I was like, well, yeah, I'll get deposits and then I'll go and purchase materials. So that was great. So I didn't really have that fear, I would say, because that's not typical for business, right? Like a lot of businesses, you're going in and you're putting a lot of money on the table, on the line, I didn't have to do that. So that was good. Fear. I mean, I always fear failure. I think fearing failure can be a good thing, like, and I think that's what pushes me to do so well, is I'm competitive and I don't like losing, and I wanted to make this a success, and I was going to do every single thing possible to do that. That's why I've been staying up till 2 a.m. every night, because I just feel like I'm like a sponge. I just want to keep getting better and better at what I'm doing, and I think that's a good thing. But I wouldn't say I feared anything. You know what? I actually do fear something. I fear letting people down. Like my customers, like, I generate so much excitement when I'm making the sale. Like they're so excited for those lights. And it's like, I just fear, that I wouldn't do it right. So I'm just like, everyone's got to be perfect for them. That's my fear.
Let's talk about that. How do you generate that excitement for that customer?
I watched one of your videos, and you were talking about generating excitement and, like asking the customers why they want lights, why is this a special moment for you? Why is this a special holiday for you? And then they kind of talk, and I let them talk, and then I pick up on things. So they might go, oh yeah, my auntie and uncle are coming into town for the week, or my brother and sister are coming to town for the week, and I'll be like, you know what, your brother and sister are going to absolutely love these lights. Have you ever considered the candy cane? Do they have kids? Oh yeah, we've got little Johnny. He's 3 years. Johnny will love the red and white. The candy cane's beautiful, and that might just be because I've got a lot of candy cane I need to get rid of. But whatever I have, I'm like, those red and white, they're brilliant. Let me pull out a video. What's your number? I'm going to send you a video right now. Oh, I love those, Daniel. Yep. You know what? I'm going to do you a great deal on those. Just think, and just picking up on what people say. I think that sales is like being able to, listen and then just pounce at the right moment.
But you're not selling these bulbs of... You're not selling, hey, look at these bulbs. We use LED and... No.
And that's the thing, like, I watched, what was it? Something the other week, and it was talking about, like, selling experience, but then, like, people that go way too, they don't care what, like, if, they're LEDs or where you're running power from, or, like, they don't care about all that. They want to know how it's like going to look, how everyone's going to feel. Is it going to uplift the place? You know, you're selling an experience.
And that experience is priceless.
Yeah, priceless. Yeah.
Yep. This guy will have $500,000 of revenue in next year or two. What a go-getter, Mr. Teak.
Thank you, Teak. I hope so.
80-20 rule is key. So, what is your average ticket for Christmas lights this year?
Oh, that's a good question. It was very high initially. I think I was up at 3.5, but that was because I sold two really big malls. One of my malls was, I think, 12, 13,000, and the other was like 11. So that raised it. But if I took the commercial out of it, I'm probably doing like 19, 1800 if I took commercial out and it was just residential. But with commercial now, I think I'm around about 2.5.
So I know I talk a lot about Dan and Lindy. They're out of Charlotte. She sent me a message, and their average ticket right now is $2,952. And so I had to be the smart person that I am. I'm like, why couldn't you get the other $48 just to hit it at $3,000? So, and then I might have been the smart person. So she actually just came to my sale. She just did the sales class a couple weeks ago, and I was like, it must have been that sales class that you came to help you get to there. But they're killing it down there. I think they're going to get to 150, and this is their second year. And so, you know, to get to 150,000 is a big task. You know, there's a lot of moving parts to it. There's not just the selling, there's not just getting the business, but how do you get the jobs done? And I think that is the thing that a lot of people don't do what to do there. And so that is something that is hard to be able to get to that 150,000. Because if I said it was easy, everybody would do it. And it is not easy. I've got several people that they've never hit 150,000. They've hit 60, 80, 100,000, but you know, to be able to even hit 100,000 can be hard during Christmas lights. So I don't want to make it sound like it's just easy and everybody's going to get to it, because a lot of times what I've learned is the people that have a hard time closing jobs, they might be the best Christmas light installer out there, but the people that have a hard time closing jobs are going to have a hard time to get to the $150,000 range. Because you got to close high ticket sales. This isn't about going and closing $5 a foot, $6 a foot, because you will never get to $150,000, or you're going to be working your butt off trying to get to that. And so that's something that you have to look at and see and be able to do that. Bobby put, any tips to land commercial accounts? I'll let you answer that.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Like I said earlier, like just being fearless and going in there and, you know, like laying it all on the line. Like, you know, you're not going to get anything if you don't ask, right? Like, you know, so in the build, I think a big thing with the commercials too, and I've learned this and I'll make sure I do it next year, you have to get started early. So, like the way they work and the way their systems work is you've got to get in there like late summer, like August. You've got to be in there because they're preparing everything. They've got budgets, so they need to, you know, set some money aside. I've ran into a lot of problem, like when I've almost landed and then it's been like, oh, we're just a little out of budget. Like I had a golf course on the line, a really big famous golf course on the line, Virginia. And they just couldn't quite get over the line because they didn't have the budget. But they're going to go with me next year, and they were like, well, if you'd have let us know, maybe like August. So I think getting there early, but you've just got to go and you know, I'm a big fan of seeing people at face to face and try to do things like just walking into the reception and say, hey, can I speak to the boss? You know, where I'm a Christmas light installer. I think your property would look beautiful with our lights. We've done some of your other commercial jobs in the area, and we're, you know, hoping to land you some stuff like that. Like, and then creating that's the other beauty of this design software I'm using is, you know, I go and then create a design and I take it to them and I show them this is how it's going to look. You know, we can add and remove. And then a big thing for commercial too is giving them options. So when I do commercial quotes, I actually package it. So I do a tiered package option. So I give them like an intermediate, a basic, an intermediate, and a superior or whatever excellence package. And that gives them the option. So you give them one at 6K, then you give them one at 8K, and then one at 12K. And they like that kind of freedom of choice because they can then take that to corporate and be like, you know, this is what the options we have. This is what's on the table. What one would you like to take? So that's a big thing.
And that's and I mean that's in any business, right? We want to, and even on, you know, I think a lot of times people won't do that on the residential, won't give them options of the higher end package, you know, and you're leaving money on the table. I mean, you can put, hey, we can make this. If they just call for the roof line, I'm not just quoting them the roof line. I'm quoting them the whole package because there's going to be a percentage that's going to take it. But if you don't offer it, they're not going to take it. So
yeah, and that's another thing I learned. Going back to things I learned early on was real quickly. I learned that providing options. So what I did was Jobber were, you know, their CRM's pretty good. It's very expensive, but it's good because it allows you to add optional line items. So what I do is I kind of try and upsell. So I'll put things in and I'll just, you know, and then I tell the customer, I'm like, oh, I threw this in, you know, it's an optional. You can check and uncheck to align with your vision and budget. And then they're able to check and uncheck the line item. And sometimes I've been surprised at what people have thrown in just because I did that.
Because you let them put more money on there.
Yeah.
What's your goal for 2024?
Next year?
Yep.
350.
Only 350? You only want to double?
Nah, more than double. I'm at 150, well, almost 150 right now. So,
well, you might get to 175 before the end of the year. We still got 2 weeks or a week and a half.
Yeah, I think I'll close this year probably. I'm thinking 170. I think I'm going to close up shop December 10, and I've got 4 or 5 days left on my schedule, 4.5 days. So I listened to your advice. I'm just going to fill those with bigger jobs. Like I'm quoting high now. Like $13, $14 a foot because I don't want to fill the remaining part of my schedule up with jobs any cheaper than that.
Right.
So I've been quoting high and hoping that someone will bite.
Yep. So next year your goal is to do 350, which that's a good goal. Year 2. That's very impressive. I can very be done. I know it can. I know Jeremy Main, his first year, I think he did 30. Second year, he did 200. Last year, he did 400. This year, his goal was 800. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while to see where he's at on that. But it can definitely be done. And so that's the cool thing about Christmas lights. You know, that's another one that he was literally a garbage man. You know, when he came to my class, I told him, hey, you will be able to do $30,000 to $50,000 your first year. He had just quit his garbage job. He was a garbage man for 17 years, on the back of the truck, throwing garbage in the truck. And so when he started, I told him he could do 30, 50,000. He told Jennifer there was no way that would happen. In his first year, he did $32,000 just in Christmas lights alone. He even got started late. That was a end of October class, and he ended up doing 30,000, 32,000 his very first year. You know, and so it's awesome to be able to see regular, ordinary people do extraordinary things. The only thing that's holding you back is you. You know, and I think that's a lot with a lot of people, and that's a struggle. And, you know, that's the thing that I've loved about Daniel, and he's been a coach for his whole life, you know, and you're basically telling those kids the same thing I'm telling these adults, right? That you can do this. You can do extraordinary things. How do you tell those kids that what you would tell other adults that they could do Christmas lights?
Yeah. No, you've got to believe in yourself. You got to have faith. Like, you know, I believe in God and I pray a lot and that's helped, but you've got to be confident, you got to be optimistic, and anything's possible. Like if you put your mind to it and you work hard, literally anything's possible. So and like people like Jason, you're a godsend, man. Like if I hadn't stumbled across that video, I wouldn't be here like this today, you know. And people should ask you questions. Like I appreciate all the questions you've answered because I know I've sent you a hell of a lot of questions, but you know, picking people's brains that know more than you. Like, like put your pride to the side and ask questions and don't, learn from your mistakes. Don't be scared of mistakes. Like I've already made a lot of mistakes and I'm learning from them. Just don't make the same mistake twice. But it's like you have to make mistakes in order to learn and progress and develop in anything you do. And I think there's a lot of people that seek perfection, and unfortunately, we're not perfect. No one's perfect. No business is ever going to be perfect. There's going to be hurdles along the way, but believe in yourself, believe in the end goal, and trust yourself to get things done, and you'll do magical things.
I can't say it no better, because you have not because you ask not a lot of times, right? I mean, there's a lot of principles in there that can work with life. You know, and this is something that, as I've become, a lot of you know that I've become captain of water rescue, and it was a big step. It was scary for me. It was a step that last year I was asked if I would be the assistant, and I was like, there ain't no way in hell I would do that, because of fear more so than anything else. And this year it came open, things happened, and I was like, I'll do it. I'll step up to the plate. And by me doing this, it has been, I have learned so much in the last 3 months that I would have never dreamt. I've done things that I was literally scared, like shaking in my chair, going to the fiscal court asking for $150,000 for motors. Like, they needed it. We had it in our funds, but like, I was literally, it's things I've never done before. Last night I had to go to another fiscal court meeting. We got some property, so we're going to be able to move our headquarters to the river. And, that was a big ask. And that was, this was like 5-year wish plan of me. And here in 4 months, we're already doing this. We've grown our membership up in 25%. Like, we went from 30 to 40 pre-pool. And so, that's things that I would have never thought that I was possible of doing, right? Jason, that I preach to you all to do the exact same thing. And it's like, I put these skills into what I do over here in water rescue. I don't get paid a dime to do it, but I also know that I do it for the vision. And and even your business, you got to have a vision, you got to have a goal. And that's things that I've set. And it's like, things are coming. It's kind of like what you had said earlier. I'm not very good at a lot of things. I know a lot of things, but I'm not good at them. And one of them that I suck at is finance. And I had a guy that came up and he's like, he's a financial banker. Like, here you go. You take this, you make me look, and he's making me look good. And he's making us look good and be financial, smart. And, I got another guy that's stepping up, and I'm allowing these people to bring up leadership. And guess what? We're growing. We're having amazing things happen, and it's exciting to do that. And so a lot of times we hold ourselves back, and that's our number one problem. And so me doing this with water rescue has taught me a bunch about leadership, which I already knew a lot about leadership, but it's teaching me the more principles of leadership. And a lot of times you won't be able to do it unless you just take faith, and you got to take out that step and do it. And it's not always going to be easy. Is there times you're going to fall on your head? Yep, you will fall flat on your face. And you know what? Get up, learn from it, and keep moving. That's what I'll tell you. Because when you try to stop, that's when that's when you will struggle the most.
I think you need to be like I think a big thing is as well. You have to celebrate the small wins. Like, it's all part of enjoying the process. The process is so important, like not just the end goal, but enjoying what you do. And I think you have to reflect, because it's very easy to get caught up in it all and forget what you've achieved. And a little one that I like, a little example is when I got my storage unit. Like, when I first started this, I was like, nah, I'll keep everything in the garage, and it'd be cool to have a storage unit. I'll solve that problem when I get to it. And then I remember standing outside that storage unit a month ago, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, well done, Daniel. You've done well enough to get a storage unit. Good job. Keep going. And it's like, you have to kind of look at these things and these little milestones that you're doing, and give yourself a pat on the back, because no one else is going to give you a pat on the back. So do it to yourself. And that's the one way you can keep yourself going, is be proud of what you're doing, And then the other one is not comparing yourself to others. So I was part of one of these another Facebook group early on. I can't remember what it was. It was full with Christmas light installers. And I saw a lot of people maybe new to the game asking questions about, what would you they sent pictures of the home. What would you price this at? I don't understand why people ask that, because it's very subjective. Because in one town it might be worth $8 a foot, but you might go up the road and it's $14 a foot. And then you've got all these people, all these dudes like slamming them, and they're brand new, and they're like giving them a beat, like, oh, why are you doing this? And it's like, just do your own research, learn for yourself, because everyone's different, every market's different. You have to do market research. You know what I mean? And not comparing yourself to another business or anything like that. Just focus on yourself.
Well, and I think, I've always heard, well, you can't get that down here in Texas. And I do have a guy down in Texas that is getting it, You know what? He comes on to my Monday Night Marketing. If you don't know what Monday Night Marketing, you can go to christmaslights.io or King of Pressure Wash. And every Monday night, I do a Zoom call to help people grow their business. And everybody in there is growing their business. They're anywhere from just starting out to some of them are at $500,000. And some of them are more than that. And so, the thing that I love about Tristan is he's young. He's 25. He just turned 25. We found out the other day. And he's at like almost $250,000 in a pressure washing Christmas light business in Dallas, Texas. He is getting $8 to $10 a foot in Dallas, Texas. Yes, you can get it. Yes, he's not closing lots of jobs, but he's at almost, I think he said 75,000 this year is where he's at, and that's freaking amazing is what that is, and so this is something that as people grow their business, this is why it is important. Total Outdoor Solution, I agree. You have made a huge impact on my business, Jason. Greatly appreciate it. And, and that's my whole goal, is to help you guys grow your business and be successful, because I do believe that you can do it. You have to believe it too, because I can believe in you all you want, but if you don't do it, it's not going to get done. And so it is definitely something that I know that you can do this. There's nothing special about me. If you would have told me 5 years ago, I would be right here helping people grow $100,000, $1 million businesses, I would have said, you're crazy. You got the wrong person. I wouldn't even get on video back then. But you know what? You can do hard things. It's back to, don't put yourself in a box to say, well, I would never do that, because that's the worst thing you can say, because it's probably going to happen. But you can do hard things, and with a lot of things that makes things a lot easier, right? The thing that held me back for years was I suck at writing. I completely suck at writing. Like, if you want me to write anything, I suck at it. But guess what? There's tools out there now that make me sound amazing. Everything I write isn't Jason Guyman writing. It's AI writing. And guess what? I'll probably be teaching more about AI in the future, because if you're not using it, you're losing. AI can write things and can analyze data like no other. You can put a bunch of data in there and it'll tell you everything that's about the data and what's good, what's not, everything, And so if you're not using, and that's back to your soccer days, right? What did you do? You looked at the data. You looked at what you needed to do better at. What did you go? That's the whole point of this, right? You can do anything unless you want to sit there and say, and you put yourself in a box, and I can never do that. I can never get on video. Why not? Because I don't like the way my hair looks or whatever. You know what? I still hate hearing my voice whenever I hear one of my videos.
Yeah.
At 5 years later, I still don't like it. But you know what? I know some of your wives probably hate my voice too, and I've heard it back from them. I hear that voice all the time. And so that's, but don't let me hold you back, because you know why? I've helped a lot of people make a lot of money, and that's my goal, is to help you guys make money. That's my goal. And I know that I will be blessed along the way. That's the way life is. And, I give a lot of free stuff away. You can go through all my videos. Like Daniels went through all my videos before he even paid me and learned how to start doing this. Before he paid me a dime. Because I've got hours of videos to make this stuff happen and work. Some of them are old, some of them are new, some of them are everywhere, right? But that's what he's done, and that's the reason why I've done it for, is to help you guys grow your business and so that you can be successful in doing it. You have helped me enormously, Jason. Thanks a million. I've got a Facebook group now. If you want to go check it out, it's christmaslights.io/group. It's a completely free group. I don't allow a bunch of vendors in there. Yes, I might spam it myself, but because I get tired of hearing, where can I buy lights at? And so, yes, I ban those people because I get tired of hearing, where can I buy lights at? Otherwise, that's all that group would need to be called is where can I buy lights? Because that's the only question that gets asked. And so there's a lot more question gets asked, but that one comes up all the time. And so if you want to go check it out, I boot people. I don't let people promote a bunch of crap in there. And I don't let the hate. It's kind of like Daniel was saying, I will answer your questions even if it's a stupid question. Because here's what I feel like, and this is what I teach in all my other classes. There is no dumb question. The only dumb question is the question you don't ask. Because a lot of people have the same questions that you are thinking. They're just too scared to ask. And you know what? The reason why I love Tristan in our Monday night group is, and yes, I give him crap a lot, but he asks hundreds of questions. And you know what? This is what's gotten him to $250,000 in a pressure washing Christmas light business at the age of 25. He just bought his first duplex or triplex. And I always make fun of him because last year when I went to Texas, he's like, I got $80,000 sitting in my safe. How many 24, 25-year-olds have $80,000 sitting in their safe? That's freaking amazing. And that's a thing that I want you to know. Bobby I watched a ton of your videos before your class, and he even did I think it was an $8,000 job before they came to the class. So it is definitely something that you can do to be able to get this done.
Jason, I'm going to your next one. So I'm starting a landscape lighting branch. I'm going to do that, landscape lighting next, and pressure washing as well. I'm going to do like a home exterior business. So landscape lighting, gutter cleaning, pressure washing. So I'm going to join your class in February.
Yep. And I don't have the information on there. I am helping with a landscape lighting class out of Haven. It is February, I think the 5th through the 9th. It's a 5-day class. 3 days is all on landscape lighting. It is a how-to, hands-on. This isn't just a bunch of talking. It is hands-on, doing core drilling, how to get under concrete, actually the how-to and doing it. They're actually going to pour concrete pads, so everybody will get to do the core drilling, use the core drilling tools, and actually get the hands-on portion of that. I'm going to do a day on marketing. I'm actually going to be bringing in some AI stuff. I've never taught AI in my I've just kind of surface level. I'm going to go in deeper, how to use it, how to set up different personas for how to look at sales, all that good stuff. And then I'm going to do one day of Christmas lights also. So that is something that I do. The link, if you go to newhaven.com, I believe that havenlighting.com, it's on there, but that is, and I can put that up. Do you need search permits for things like that? For Christmas lights or landscape lighting, you do not, because it is, I'll take that back. You don't in most states. If you're in like Connecticut or some far left states, they're starting to crack down on different things. And so that is the basics of it. Like you get up into Washington and Oregon, they're starting to crack down. You may need a low voltage license one, but majority of the states you don't need a permit for that because we're using low voltage, and that's why we're able to not have to do that. Just like Christmas lights, it falls under temporary lighting, and that's why we're only supposed to have it up for 90 days. Because that's under your code book of the electrical code book. It says 90 days temporary, and that's how we're able to do the Christmas lights, even though it's over the 40 volts of low voltage, of the qualification for low voltage. Is it at Haven's Place in Hebron, Kentucky? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, so I don't know if you read much books. If you do you have any books that you would prefer to tell people about? Do you?
Books?
Yes,
Nah, the Bible.
that's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, if you were just starting out what you did, what would you tell somebody for words of encouragement if they for them to be able to do a Christmas light business?
Um, just to go for it, really. What have you got to lose? Really nothing, because there's no, you don't have to do anything until you get a deposit. So give it a shot. Ask questions. Be a sponge. Um, be positive, like we spoke about. So, do your research. You'll learn a lot along the way. Even to this day, I mean, there's bumps along the road, but that just makes you stronger, and you'll learn more as a result of the bumps. So, yeah, just go in, and if you're considering it, speak to Jason. He's a man. Ask him questions.
Yep.
Annoy him like I do at 2 a.m. in the morning. Shoot him texts. Don't let him sleep.
Uh, well, other than that, I thank you for coming on here. I thank everybody else for coming on too. Again, you can go check out ChristmasLights.io or King of Pressure. But other than that, we'll see you all later. Hang on, Daniel.